I want to talk about this charge indicator here. There's a lot of discussions that go on about these things. You know, some people will say that, you know, it's not charging, oh my god, there's a problem with it. But the way that this system works is, so this is the voltage coming out of the alternator. The alternator is controlled by the PCM. So basically what happens here is the PCM monitors outside temperature. You know, so the colder it is or the hotter it is, it's going to vary the charging voltage. So a lot of times what you'll see is you'll start it, run it for a while, and it'll start dropping. As you can see, that needle's moving down a little bit there. Now that doesn't mean it's not charging. What it means is that the computer has basically monitored the battery state and voltage, the state of charge of the battery, and the requirements of the electrical system against the outside temperature. So just because it's not all the way up there at almost 15 volts doesn't mean it's not charging. Essentially what it means is that the PCM has determined that the battery state of charge is high enough to where it doesn't need to charge, and you can actually run off of the battery for a little bit. Now, what you'll get is a bunch of people saying, oh, my XJ never did that, or my F-150 never did that. Well, yeah, but those are also low-quality vehicles. You got to remember that the ZJ series was a luxury vehicle back in, you know, the early 90s. I mean, think about what we had back in 93. I mean, we didn't even have GoldenEye yet. You know, we didn't have StarCraft. I mean, you know, we had Game Boy at best. So, you know, all of this stuff, the vehicle information center down here, you know, this was all cutting edge technology back then. So you gotta remember, you know, that we can't compare modern stuff or other vehicles to what you have here. So for example, this last weekend I was out wheeling. It was about 40 degrees, and you know, that needle stayed at the next hash mark below the 14 pretty much all day. Now vehicle starts just fine, you know, I turn on the lights, you know, everything. See, I can turn the blower motor up, you know, so the vehicle has determined that the state of charge is adequate enough to where it doesn't need to bring the voltage up that high. So right now it's doing it because it's 26 degrees out, and you know, batteries get weaker the colder they get. That's why they're rated in cold cranking amps. So as the temperature decreases, the voltage will increase. As the temperature increases, the voltage will decrease. It's sort of disproportional to what you would you'd really think. So, you know, just because your needle is underneath the 14 doesn't mean that it's not charging. Now, if you're having trouble cranking, you know, if your vehicle's actually not starting, you know, that's a whole different you know, diagnostic procedure. But you can't look at this gauge and say that it's not starting or not charging and that it's the end of the world. So there's a lot of variables to consider.